Okay, this video is going to be for a specific customer. This is going to be considered, if you're watching this and not the customer and that I'm talking about. If you're familiar with our videos, my name is Jeremy. I own Jeeps Unlimited here locally in Grand Junction, Colorado. We've been doing frames and tubs and other Jeep parts. I say frames and tubs because that's really what we're known for. Kitty, you got to go. This is obviously a very neglected kitty, let me tell you. It's a shop kitty. I mean that sarcastically, but she is noisy. Anyway, yeah, partsbreakers.com. And so you're gonna probably be wondering, if you found this video and you're looking for a TJ frame, why don't you see these on our website? And the main reason is because, like this one possibly, they usually sell before we have a chance to list them. TJ frames specifically, and then YJ tubs are the same way. Same with pretty much anything CJ7 wise. The tubs on TJs do sell quickly, but not as quickly as the frames, so you'll see a little bit more of those listed than these ones. And there's Jerry here. Say hi, Jerry. So anyway, without further ado, my point to that is that if you happen to see a frame on the website, you'll see it completely dismantled. But again, this one is, I wouldn't say a fully pre-dismantled, because obviously there's no tub on it. Oftentimes I do videos and there's tubs still sitting on them, so they're even harder to see, but we do our best we can and price them accordingly to what we think they are. And then if something comes back later, then we either price down on them, adjust down, or offer you a different frame or a refund in that case. So there's definitely some guarantees on your side of it as far as that goes. But I'll go ahead and get into this one. This one is going to be a 97 to 02 6-cylinder frame, which are the hardest ones to get a hold of. We do have an option sometimes, not always, but because they go quick too, but the 03 to 06, we can set you up with one of those, and it is a bolt-on swap that you need a few parts. So you can contact us. Sometimes those are listed on the site. I think we do have one of those at the moment. They're definitely a good alternative. But in the case we have something like this, then you can grab one of these if we do. So first and foremost, I'm gonna go over it just showing you, okay? And it is a beautiful frame. There's really not a speck of rust on this thing, specifically cancer rust. There might be a little bit of oxidation. You can see kind of the browning here. But I mean, this is super smooth. No material, no structure, nothing has been even lost on it. Obviously, there's a bumper there that we'll have to pull to see underneath that, but I don't see any indication that that's going to be a problem. It was a straight, clean frame, meaning that there was no accident on this frame. This was like a partial theft recovery, which is ideal for what we do. They had stripped the tub down and got a lot of stuff on the top side, but didn't get their way down before they were found on the bottom. So that's where we got it. So now I will show you. You're going to see something here in a second if you know frames real well, and I'll come back to that in a minute. But again, just want to show you the overall. So everything you see on it that's black is, I would say, is mostly factory black paint. Whoever started this project painted these springs, and you can see a little overspray up here. So that black compared to this black is slightly not the same. So just want to point that out, because we don't doctor our frames in any way. It's important that you know that. We want you to see them as is. We will clean them up and hit them with a Hotsy, so we can push through anything that possibly we can also show how clean they really are. But you can just see as I get down on these guys. So, and I like to show this area because specifically it's the area that on the East Coast, Midwest traps a lot of the sand, salt, and other things they use on the road, and it usually rots the top of these coil spring buckets, both sides. This one there get a little discolored, but nothing, again, no rot on them and whatnot. So, and then furthermore, we have a little Bluetooth scope that we throw through these, and just to make sure, fully that there's not something going on the inside that we didn't see. So, okay, so that's that frame. And then I'm going to show you up close on what we have. A slight discount on this frame, which doesn't happen very often, but I want to show you what it's for. So clearly you can see something going on in this area. And that is an aftermarket long arm kit. And you can see that they got some of it done, but not all of it. So, which is kind of nice, because normally when we get these long arm kits, they're completely done. And if you're not going to a long arm kit, there's not a lot of work, but there is a little work. So usually what they have to do is they have to lop off these lower control arm mounts. So clearly this one's fine, so the front is fine. You're not gonna have to mess with that. A quick solution to a frame that's set up for a long arm would be going with a long arm kit on it, throwing it back on it, which is definitely possible. On this particular frame, you could go either way because it's halfway done, halfway not done. So let's show you here. This is where the original control arm mount went. All right, and you can see where they cut it off. So if you wanted to go back to your original stock setup, you would want to re-put this plate back on, which essentially is very similar to that guy there. If yours are in good shape, you can reuse yours. It's a fairly easy job with a good welder to do. Or again, you could finish lopping off the front and stick a long arm. I believe this kit that's on it, and it's a partial kit, doesn't have I don't have the front arms on it, is a rough country. And for what they are, for the long arms, I think they're actually okay. I mean, they're not gonna be the competitive ones out there. Your Rubicon Expresses, Terraflex, some of that stuff that's more high end. Those are several $1,000 kits. These are very affordable. I think a long arm kit on a rough country, a complete kit, is just under $2,000, which we do rep for them. And you can get a hold of that kit if you decided you wanted to go that route. But personally, if you're building a stock Jeep, which is really what we're known for our OEM Jeeps out here and our OEM parts, you can go to, and I might even have a set of these on a frame that's maybe bad. I don't do a lot of bent frames, but we do every once in a while get one that we measure and that is tweaked, so we'll cut those. So if you needed those, there's a possibility of those being out here. Otherwise, I would try to source them from yours or another. Those usually aren't areas that rust out, so usually they're okay on yours. But I do, again, want to show you that, and then it's, you can kind of see right there, this is the flat spot, right, where they cut. So, and then that side is a little bit easier from here. Okay, and so they lock both sides. And you can see what the kit does. It removes the point there, that essentially is the long arm, and pushes it up to the front. This is part of a belly pan, essentially, which isn't in there right now. Okay, it gives you that mount there, and then also relocates the top. So the top mount is not, at this point, they didn't cut these off, and most of the time they don't, because these are a mount for your brake and fuel lines on this side. So occasionally I'll see them lop off that side just to clean everything up. Sometimes they'll lop off both, but in this case they did not. So again, this is a very minor repair. And normally we wouldn't discount this too much, but we were working with this customer and have sold him a tub and some other parts in the past. So, you know, that's always, you know, buying stuff from us, we really try to work out deals, especially existing customers. We really appreciate the support. So anyway, so what you can expect on this one is getting it completely stripped down to the bare bones, and then it would get hot seated. You can see a nice coat of grease on there. It's actually something I like to see. It preserves very well inside and out. So we'll get the hot seat on it and clean it up, clean off all the grime, and really be able to show this frame. You know, but I almost guarantee this frame will have sold before then, but it's just something we still do. And then we'll send you a final video on it to show you just indeed how clean, hopefully, it comes out to be, which I anticipate it will be. And then yeah, that's about it. So questions, comments, concerns, feel free to reach out, 303-666-9020. If you have a frame that's rusty and are looking for something, definitely reach out. Again, there's usually a wait list on the early ones, the 9702s, and sometimes upwards of 6 months. And it doesn't always happen, but we always like to, you know, under promise, overachieve, or whatever that saying is. In a sense, we don't want to tell you it's going to be in a couple weeks and then it ended up being 6 months, and that's usually the case. It can be a little bit more time wise. So and then we're coming upon, you know, we're approaching the tail end, and I say the tail end meaning the last 4 or 5 months of our really busy season, which really runs from January till about June. And then we actually slow down in our summers. And that's when I go out and collect Jeeps. And I do that. I try to get those from California, Nevada, Arizona. Colorado's still a good state to pull Jeeps from. That's changing slowly, not because we use salt on the roads, but just because the demographics that are moving into the state from other states that do have rust, they're bringing their Jeeps in. But that's happening everywhere, so you do have to be a little bit more cautious when you buy a Jeep in a state like Colorado or even California now. Arizona, Nevada, even those states I see it in. So it's taking a lot more effort to find rust-free Wranglers out there, not just for parting purposes, but for buying them as well. And it is kind of an expensive endeavor to go down. So if you get a smoking deal on a Jeep, TJ, YJ, CJ, anything like that, you can usually allocate for the frame swap and possibly tub swaps. But if you spend a lot on them, it is definitely a harder pill to swallow, to have to go in and do something major like this. It's not, by no means will I tell you it's cheap, because it isn't. The frames are pricey, whether you buy a used one or a new one, if you're able to get a hold of a new one. But also the labor is involved enough to, we're actually about to do one here in a few weeks and we'll video that. But it is a time consuming. It can be done in a weekend. I've done it before, but it isn't easy, and it requires usually a couple hands, as well as it makes it easier if you have a lift, although it is not impossible to do it without a lift, and mainly because right here, and I'll quit blabbing here in a minute, but usually what I tell people when they're doing frame swaps is get your frame out from underneath your tub, your bad one, and go ahead and get your new one set up, jack stands, roll your axles, keep tires and wheels on them, roll them right underneath, bolt them up, and put your stem, we call it, the engine to the T-case in it with the belly pan, so everything's hanging nice in it. And then from there, roll it back underneath. And that's the best way to do it. If you do it like piece by piece, it can take forever. So I suggest not doing it that way. But anyway, again, 303-666-9020. And our website, again, partsbreakers.com. If you don't know who we are, I'll give you a quick, you've probably seen my videos, and they're not the most exciting, but I will show you. This is what we have out here at 7 acres. Of Jeep parts, and we do everything, but like I said, we do Cherokees, Grand Cherokees, we do it all. But this is what we've been doing for 18 years specifically, have been the Wranglers and CJs. So all right, I appreciate all your time and look forward to talking to you.